Dear race baiters. Do you remember that American Christian minister who had a dream? This letter is to tell you that the dream is ending. I was born in a time that made us believe that we were all the same, all equals, that the color of our skin was irrelevant. In a time that swore to never repeat the worst catastrophes that humanity had endured: slavery, colonialism, segregation, the Holocaust, i.e., the collective demonization of people on the ground of supremacist ideas, religion, or ethnicity. And now, we are starting to realize dumbfounded that identical doctrines that lead to those catastrophes are resurfacing hidden behind the benevolent mask of progress. At first, we were told that to reach that dream, we must fight against white supremacy, a dogma promoted by a dangerous minority, the last barrier before social harmony. But then, your ideologues have devised the concept of whiteness, the supposed disproportionate power held by white people, their entitlement or sense of entitlement. This abstraction, whiteness, has the merits to offer you an everlasting antagonist. And despite claiming that it does not encompass all white people, this manipulation of the language to obscure the meaning of the belief system known as white supremacy factually created a concept that defines the state or quality of being white. You have collectively demonized Caucasians as the villains, render them the cause of all oppression with this abstraction, and like every totalitarian regime before, you endeavored to eradicate this antagonist. The Russian Communist Party fought against capitalism, sending dissidents to the gulags. Hitler exploited the fear of a Bolshevik revolution, deporting those considered as inferiors to the concentration camps. Mussolini promised to end corruption and a revolutionary nationalism that transcend class lines while reintroducing the death penalty for serious political offenses. Your activists and academicians required the abolition of whiteness, a sickness, a societal disease of some sort that needs to be cured. Your remedy is a grand revolution, like every totalitarian regime before, to ravage and pillage the purported privileges of an ethnicity and remove from society a racial identity deemed oppressive. Therefore, you have pined all social ills on the back of a scapegoat, and I pray that your promise of a permanent treatment won't be dubbed the final solution. Dear race baiters, you hold me responsible for what my ancestors supposedly did to yours without knowing my history. So allow me to talk a bit about myself. My forefathers neither owned any properties nor any slaves. They were serfs and peasants in Sicily trying to survive in a land raided by Greek and Romans, 276 to 241 BC, then Vandals, 440, Ostrogoths, 447, Byzantine, 535, and Muslims Arabs, 827-1067. Undoubtedly, none of those conquests were made with flowers and folk guitars. On the contrary, there is every reason to believe that more than a few of my ancestors were killed, raped, or enslaved. Under the Normans' occupation and the King Roger II, 1095 to 1154, the region was relatively at peace until invasions from the German royal family Hohenstaufen, 1194, the Angevins, 1266, and the Kingdom of Aragon, 1282. Through the following century, Sicily was at war against the Kingdom of Naples controlled by the French Angevins. The Spanish ultimately took over Naples, and during the Napoleonic Wars, the kingdoms of Naples and Sicily were combined into the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies, 1816 to 1861, under the ruling of the former. My ancestors residing in Sicily were second-class citizens. In 1861, Garibaldi unified Italy. Still, people in the north, richer thanks to the Industrial Revolution, thought of themselves as superior, more civilized, compared to the so-called barbaric south, the land of farmers. Many in Sicily traded their rustic and agrarian existence to work in factories, dreaming of a better future for their children. For my grandfather, it was working in the sulfur mines from a very young age, the skin burns, and a life expectancy that would not exceed 50 years. When Mussolini came into power, in reason of his ties with the Communist Party, my grandfather decided to take refuge in France right before the war was declared. There, he worked in the coal mines, slowly filling his lung with black dust while striving to put bread on the table under German occupation. He died when I was a young boy. In turn, for diverse motives, I moved from my land to emigrate in the UK, where I started a life at the bottom of the ladder in a job paying the absolute minimum wage. My family history is not uncommon. Likewise, There are millions of white people who never held any forms of authority or privileges but have been mistreated over centuries by the military or financial power of the time, foreign invaders, institutions, corporations. Those are the people you demand to feel guilty in reason of their skin color, ask them to cure their whiteness and apologize for their supposed privileged. The real oppression comes from the financial institutions, the multinationals, capitalist companies, the minorities who exploit the majority of white people. Those who sold us the idea that our submission to their economic system will be the ultimate freedom. Indeed, similarly to the British Glorious Revolution of 1688, the American Revolution of 1776, and the French Revolution of 1789, your revolution served the interest of economic liberalism and your narrative sustained the elite power. This elite divide us to reign, assert their dominance hidden behind a virtuous mask. While our societies are becoming more and more economically unequal, they campaign to promote your ideology. If race hustling were not profitable for the establishment, do you think they would give you platforms, open institutions' doors and hand you a microphone? They have transformed genuine social and political activism into a very lucrative business. They offered you to build a career on hatred, paid you to do their bidding, to demonize the white working class in order to bring the civil war among the masses while they watch us fight against each other from their ivory tower. You make your bed with the bourgeois elite whose imperialism substantiated by nationalism justified the plunder of resources and exploitation of millions of individuals in the colonies. Dear race baiters, by claiming that everything in society is tinted with whiteness, you do not do any favor to your community. You factually set up black people for failure by promoting deviance in opposition of norms perceived as oppressive and created only for whites. Working hard is whiteness, turning up on time is whiteness, having good grades is whiteness. You supported the opposite standards of what makes success, condemning countless children to never escape their social condition. You have developed in them an aversion to intelligence, let them revel in their debasement, their contempt for Western culture and the authority represented by teachers deemed oppressive. You made them unable to articulate ideas, only recourse to pure emotion. You maintained in them the fiction that their situation is due to poverty and prejudices, that they are victims. The comfortable fiction that whiteness, and only that, is holding them back. Above all, you forbade them to assimilate, you told them to Africanize their look, wear dreadlocks, change their name, adding an X. You pressed them to detach themselves and mark their distance with this society you love to hate, a society that gave you most of your success. You fed them a narrative in contradiction with your history and accomplishments, promoting appearance over substance, the never-ending status of victim over the possibilities make it in life despite obstacles. Dear race baiters, you will certainly never read this letter and we will never have a conversation. And this is why the dream a great man once had is coming to an end. Like, comment and subscribe for more videos.